Dari Yashoda Nandana Brajadana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajadana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajadana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Brajadana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajadana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parirabhata Charisata Srimad His Divine Grace Aboy Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Brinda Ki Namacharya Shaharirasta Kori Ki Prem Sekaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Brinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhana Ki Vrindavan Dhamaki, Mayapur Navadvip Dhamaki, Jagannath Puri Dhamaki, Ganga Maiki, Jamuna Maiki, Bhakti Devi Ki, Tulsi Maharani Ki, Gaura Premanandi. Oh, glorious to the assembled devotees. Oh, glorious to the assembled devotees. Oh, glorious to the assembled devotees. Oh, glorious to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Oh, glorious to Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. We're reading from Caitanya Caritamrita Madhya Lila chapter 2 entitled The Ecstatic Manifestations of Lord Chaitanya, and this is text number 67. Please repeat. Tumi Deva Kridarata Bhuvanera Nariyata Tahaikara Abhishta Kridana Tumi Mora Daita Motivashe Tomara Chitta Mora Bhagye Kaila Agamana. Kahikara Abhishta Kridana. Tumi Mora Dayita Mote Vashe Tomara Chitta. Tumi, you, Deva, the Supreme Lord, Kridarata, engaged in your pastimes, Bhuvanera, of all the universes, Nari, women, Yata, all, Tahe, in those pastimes, Kara, you do, Abhishta, desired, Kridana, acting, Tumi, you, Mora, my, Dayita, merciful, Mote, to me, Vaishe, rest, Tomara, your, Chitta, mind, Mora, my, Bhagye, by fortune, Kaile, you have made, Agamana, appearance. No purport to this verse, and there's 2 or 3 other verses which we're going to read to get to the purport. Translation for text 67. My dear Lord, you are engaged in your pastimes, and you utilize all the women in the universe according to your desire. You are so kind to me. Please divert your attention to me, for by fortune you have appeared before me. 68. My dear Lord, you attract all the women of the universe, and you make adjustments for all of them when they appear. You are Lord Krishna, and you can enchant everyone. But on the whole, you are nothing but a debauchee. Who can honor you? 69. My dear Krishna, your mind is always restless. You cannot remain in one place, but you are not at fault for this. You are actually the ocean of mercy, the friend of my heart. Therefore, I have no reason to be angry with you. 70. My dear Lord, you are the master and the life and soul of Vrindavan. Kindly arrange for the deliverance of Vrindavan. We have no leisure hours away from our many activities. Actually, you are my enjoyer. You have appeared just to give me happiness, and this is the one of your expert activities. A small purport. The word Vaidagdya means that one must be very expert, learned, humorous, cunning, beautiful, and expert in manifesting caricatures. 71. Taking my words as defamation, Lord Krishna has left me. I know that he is gone, but kindly hear my prayers in praise. You are the satisfaction of my eyes. You are my wealth and my life. Alas, please give me your audience once again. Text 72. This one has a purport. There were different transformations of the body of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being stunned, trembling, perspiring, fading away of color, weeping, and choking. In this way, his whole body was pervaded by transcendental joy. As a result, sometimes Caitanya Mahaprabhu would laugh, sometimes cry, sometimes dance, and sometimes sing. Sometimes he would get up and run here and there, and sometimes fall on the ground and lose consciousness. Purport. In Bhakti Rasa Amrita Sindhu, 8 kinds of transcendental change taking place in the body are described. Stamba, being stunned, refers to the mind's becoming transcendently absorbed. In that state, the peaceful mind is placed on the life air and different bodily transformations are manifest. These symptoms are visible in the body of an advanced devotee. When life becomes almost inactive, it is called stunned. The emotions resulting from this condition are joy, fear, astonishment, moroseness, and anger. In this condition, the power of speech is lost, and there is no movement in the hands and legs. Otherwise, being stunned is a mental condition. Many other symptoms are visible on the entire body in the beginning. These are very subtle, but gradually they become very apparent. When one cannot speak, naturally one's active senses are arrested and the knowledge-acquiring senses are rendered inoperative. Kampa, trembling of the body, is mentioned in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu as a result of a special kind of fear, anger, and joy. This is called vipattu or kampa. When the body begins to perspire because of joy, fear, and anger combined, this is called sweda. Vaivarnya is described as a change in the bodily color. It is caused by a combination of moroseness, anger, and fear. When these emotions are experienced, the complexion turns pale and the body becomes lean and thin. Ashru is explained in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu as a combination of joy, anger, and moroseness that causes water to flow from the eyes without effort. When there is joy and there are tears in the eyes, the temperature of the tears is cold. But when there is anger, the tears are hot. In both cases, the eyes are restless, the eyeballs are red, and there is itching. These are all symptoms of ashru. When there is a combination of moroseness, astonishment, anger, joy, and fear, there is a choking of the voice. This choking is called gadgada. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu refers to gadgada hridaya gira, or a faltering voice. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, pulaka is described as joy, encouragement, and fear. When these combine, the hairs on the body stand on end, and this bodily state is called pulaka. Omagyan timarantasya gananjana shalakaya chakshushrun militam jena tasmai Sri Gurave namaha. Sri Chaitanya manobishtam stapitam yena bhutale swayam rupa gadamayam dadati swapadantikam. Vanchakalpatarubhishcha kripa sindhuvayevacha patitanam pavanibhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So hearing from the Caitanya Caritamrita in the association of devotees is the perfection of life. Hearing about the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, hearing about his moods, hearing about his interaction with his intimate associates, awakens or helps to show, awakens love of God, helps to show what it means to be a devotee, an advanced devotee. And then we have, following on from that topmost exemplary principle, we have the guidance given to us by Lord Chaitanya's followers, the six Goswamis. You cannot approach Lord Chaitanya directly. You have to get the mercy of Lord Nityananda in order to get Lord Chaitanya's mercy. In order to get the mercy of Lord Nityananda, you have to get the mercy of the six Goswamis, the acharyas who are there closest to Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. In order to get their mercy, you have to actually understand what is devotional service. To understand devotional service, we, fallen conditioned souls, have depended upon the mercy of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And many of us didn't actually meet Srila Prabhupada, so we're dependent upon the mercy of his disciples. We're mercy cases, nothing but mercy cases. This particular area of the Chaitanya Caritamrita, the ecstatic manifestations of Sri Chaitanya, of Lord Chaitanya, are very confidential, very deep, subtle. They are the subject matter of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami's book, which Srila Prabhupada has translated as The Nectar of Devotion. It's the science of devotional service. So involved in the science is how to deal with emotions. The business of the mind is thinking, feeling, and willing. Thinking, feeling, and willing. You think about something, then you start to get a feel of what it means, and then the willing aspect is, well, I want more of that, or I'm going to perform some action in order to foster that thinking and that feeling. So on the material platform, thinking and feeling and willing are fraught with problems. There's one saying about thinking. Atmavan manyate jagat. It's a condition of the mind, a condition of the individual. So, who can tell me what Atmavan manyate jagat means? Somebody who's new. As I'm thinking, so the whole world is thinking. Which means, here I am, I'm the center of the universe. What's going on in my mind, that's what's happening, that's what's real. That's the fact. Atmavan manyate jagat. One of our learned acharyas back in Sydney, he used to describe this phenomenon as a legend in our own mind. Everybody's individual, everybody's different. And the business of life, and ultimately transcendental life, which is characterized by sambandha, abhidaya, and prayojana. Knowledge of who we are, understanding of activities which we can perform, abhidaya, in order to achieve our goal, and prayojana, the goal. In spiritual life, the goal is to learn to love God with all our one's heart. So in the material world, we can still apply those same three principles, but we get short. We don't get so close to God so often. Often we think we're the center of the universe. So, Atmavan manyate jagat, when that gets smashed a few times and we realize, well, actually I'm pretty insignificant and I need to depend upon others. They say that, I think the psychologists say that no man is an island. We're actually part of a universal cosmic, maybe Isvaka, you can define that a little bit clearer. No man is an island. We're interdependent. We're not independent. So we have to depend upon others. So in order to relate to others, we need to deal with emotions. Personally, I find it easier to relate to plants than to people. But still, they're people. They're people. In Mayapur, Jananivas Prabhu, he expressed that the overriding mood within Mayapur is a mood of service. Every living entity is wanting to serve. So relating to plants, I would go into the garden and I'd be in amongst the okra, the bindi plants. And, you know, you're searching for some right pods and sometimes they're not there, they're hiding. So then I would start praying, you want to do service, I want to do service, please assist me to engage you in service. And then suddenly I'd be able to see all of these pods. They would reveal themselves. The plants, they're persons, and so they respond to reciprocation. Actually, it's said in terms of gardening, the most important ingredient in the garden is the farmer's boots. Means you've got to get amongst there. You've got to do stuff. Nowadays, the modern agriculture, it's just machinery. And so the plants reciprocate with the attention they get. They're mechanical, they're empty. Whereas those places where there's that loving affection between the individuals and the plants, there's the hugging the tree revolution. You go up and you exchange, commune with nature. You connect with nature. So for me, dealing with plants is a little bit easier than dealing with humans. Humans are very complicated. Plants are quite complicated too. They have needs. If you don't water them, they get shriveled up. If you don't feed them, they don't grow properly. If you put them in the wrong place, then they react to combinations. They don't actually thrive. You shift them somewhere else. Oh, that's what I needed. A bit of sun, a bit of love. So humans, emotions, that's what we're dealing with here, and that's what we're describing in what Krishna's Kaviraj is describing in this section of the Caitanya Caritamrita. Here, Lord Chaitanya is in the mood of Srimati Radharani, who is the topmost servitor of Krishna. Lord Chaitanya, he is Krishna in the mood of Radharani, because he witnessed that aspect of service, by serving him, Srimati Radharani, she was experiencing more happiness, satisfaction, bliss, pleasure than he himself. Krishna, he's God. He's Atmaram. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's full in himself. But in spiritual life, there's perfect, more perfect, and most perfect. So to have a relationship, we can have a relationship which is a neutral relationship. Oh, I know that person. I don't feel like talking with them, so I pretend they don't exist. I'll just ignore them. Neutral. And then that relationship can develop to actually service, to friendship, to more of a parental, trying to care for them, and a conjugal mood, a loving mood. We actually think that without our attention, then they're not going to survive. So different types of relationship. And these descriptions here, at the start of the purport, I think Prabhupada gave a hint. He said, in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, 8 kinds of transcendental change take place in the body. Taking place in the body are described. If we read the Nectar of Devotion, chapter 17 and chapter 18, there's descriptions of bhava. Bhava is the stage just before prema, pure love. Bhava is ecstatic love. It's the dawn of that pure love. It's the arising of that pure love. So in the stage of bhava, there's different manifestations in the body, and a lot of them read like this: stunned, becoming stunned, perspiring, laughing, choking, yawning. In one purport there in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, or the Chaitanya, the Nectar of Devotion, there's a comment that actors, they can do all this. They can put on emotions. They can cry. People who are reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, they can get to the Rasa Leela stage and they can manifest tears. If they're professional speakers, it's not real. They go back off the stage afterwards and they take the chilies out of their nose, which have caused them to cry. Another time, sitting on this Vyasasan, Kalasamvara was speaking, and he was describing, I think I'm feeling like the hairs on my body stand on end at the back of my neck. And then he turned around and he noticed the door was open and there was a breeze coming through. So these manifestations of emotions, they can be caused by different things. And depending upon the level of advancement of the individual, then they are more or less spiritual. In relationship to tears, here we hear about hot tears and cold tears. Cold tears, in Lord Chaitanya's case, are motivated by joy. Cold tears of joy. Maharaj Uttanapad, he reconnected with his son. And when he saw his son and he embraced him, he was crying cold tears. Tears with anger are hot. Hot. So you can tell, you can test what sort of tears have I got. Are they cold or are they hot? It's interesting. And then afterwards, it's the purport says, along with the tears, then the eyes become red and itchy, and there's scratching. So the body manifests certain symptoms which are indications of the emotions, the mood which is going on inside. So these symptoms of bhava can be genuine, and if we see them in a devotee, we should give them the benefit of the doubt to a certain extent. Prabhupada, he saw or heard about a member of the Baal community who came to the temple in the early days. And after kirtan, he was performing and acting, and then he fell on the ground. Everybody was playing their pranams, and after everybody got up, he stayed there. And everybody thought, oh, he's in an ecstatic swoon. He's manifesting these spiritual emotions. So the devotees walked out and they said, well, leave him to it. And they went back and told Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, what did you do? And they said, we didn't know what to do. So Prabhupada said, you should honor them and offer your boots to their face. You should kick them in the head. And if it is genuine, then they'll stay there. They're in that ecstatic swoon. Here we hear about being stunned. Your senses don't work. Your knowledge-acquiring senses, your active senses, they become inactive if you're really in trance. And there's two ways of being in trance. You can really be in trance or you can pretend. And there's a statement that if somebody is pretending to be asleep, you can't wake them up. Somebody who's genuinely asleep, after some time you can drive a truck over them and they'll respond. So these symptoms are genuine or not genuine. If they're not genuine, then we refer to the scriptures. We refer back to the scriptures. And in that section, chapter 18, there are characteristics of that mood of bhava, and they're 9. They're listed in a different way. Virakti, kalatvam. Virakti means indifferent. There's a difference between being detached. Detached means, okay, I understand these are the objects of the senses, I shouldn't deal with them, so I'm detached. But they're still lurking in the background. At the level of bhava, there's still a faint whiff of the desire for sense gratification. It's described to be like a box which contains hing, a container which has had hing in it. You can take it, you can scrub it out, and it looks clean, but still that whiff is there. So that slight inclination to engage in sense gratification there. Virakti is a different stage where there's complete indifference. I'm not even interested because one has risen to a higher platform. And material sense gratification is distasteful. Jamunacharya, he describes Yadavadi Krishna Pradaravinda. Whenever my mind thinks or turns to a thought about sex life, my lips curl with this distaste and I spit at the thought. Some of us have reached that stage when it comes to meat eating. Abominable. But sex life, gross sex life and subtle sex life, when our lips curl with distaste and we spit at the thought, then we've achieved a higher taste. So virakti, one doesn't want to waste one's time, one wants to always be involved in devotional service. One desires to live in a holy place. hankering, yearning to, and even if you can't go to those holy places in your mind, you're always absorbed in that place. You're remembering. It's actually described that there are two types of lover of God. Those who are engaged directly in the pastime, and those who hear about it. Those who hear about it and remember. So to be, here we're hearing that this stunned. Otherwise, being stunned is a mental condition. There's the mental culture, that what's going on in the mind, and we can check ourselves. How many seconds per day, moments per day, minutes per day is Krishna within our mind? We were in a car crash, and Sringadev and he drove off a cliff. The car rolled a couple of times and came to the rest at the bottom. Some other devotees were behind us, and they said, "Oh wow, they left us for dust." But then when the dust cleared, they could see this car had just been involved in an accident. All I can remember in my mind was just thinking, when is the gravel going to start eating into my flesh? I'm the body. The devotees were concerned about us, what's going on. The driver, he jumped out from the windscreen and said, "Oh, there, he's okay." And then, what about Shanti? And they heard, "Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna." All right, he's okay. So after it all, managed to chant Hare Krishna. But then reflecting, it said if one is favoured by the Lord, if you can't think of the Lord, then the Lord will think about you. Not that I was in that situation, but I just recall that in my heart of hearts there was some minuscule little glimpse of Krishna. So to think of Krishna, to have Krishna there, that's the mental condition, the mental culture. That's why we have all these pastimes. That's why we have these discussions. So there's so much food for thought. If Krishna didn't come and perform his pastimes, then the concept of God would be impersonal. God, the Supreme Person, what does he do? He's everything. So these pastimes, these are here to give us information, food for thought, to develop that mental culture. So there's 9 symptoms which we should take as that we've achieved the stage of bhava. Bhava's a long way off. At the moment we're struggling to just consider ourselves persons. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text number 10, there's a verse which goes, Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha. Being freed from attachment, fear and anger. And then cultivating knowledge, one can actually start to awaken one's relationship with Krishna. Those people who are absorbed in attachment, fear and anger, that's very clearly described in that purport. We're attached. We think we're the body. So it's anything beyond the body, well, that's a fairy tale. You eat, you grow old, you die, that's it. Gross materialist. Attachment. So talk about God? No, God doesn't exist. When you're dead, you're dead. Then fear is a little bit different, that you've had some experience. It's about, say, love. There's a saying, it's better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at all. But often we get hurt, we get burnt when we give our hearts. And so we retract. We're frightened of going through that experience again. I don't want to have anything to do with anybody like that. I don't want to be a person. I'm just going to be my father. His mother left when he was 4 or 5 years old. Fortunately, he had a twin brother, so he took shelter of his brother. But mother left, and that stunted his emotions, and consequently dealings with other people. There was a lot of interaction with people, but he could never get to the guts of it. He was frightened of being a person. And the Supreme Personality of God, no, impersonal. I just want to merge. Fear. I don't want to actually have to deal with a person. And then the last one, anger. Anger and frustration. We've been hearing so many theories. People have been telling us this and that, and we've been following them. And we always come to a blind end, a dead end. We get ripped off. So out of frustration and confusion, we say, I'm not going to have anything to do with anyone. I'm going to make up my own philosophy. And ultimately, the highest one can achieve with your own mental speculation is to merge into the void. So it's not this, it's not that. I'm going to become one with everything. So with proper knowledge, proper understanding, proper hearing from the right authorities, in the right association, hearing from advanced devotees, we can get a sense of what is real. Because the devotees won't rip us off, because they're genuine, because the pleasure, the satisfaction we feel in the association of devotees and being absorbed and fixed in that mood is genuine. It's said that one drop of the ocean, of the nectar of pure devotional service, of love for Krishna, the whole world can drown in that, one drop. It's so real and tangible and full. So there are devotees who can distribute a fraction, a portion, a minute particle of that drop. They've experienced it by being in the association of Srila Prabhupada, in the association of advanced devotees. So nectar of devotion is there to guide us. It's the science of devotional service, to understand who we are, where we're going, what is the goal of life, what stage I'm at. We need to have signposts. We need to be able to understand. We need to know what it is that we are achieving. It's not just, okay, it's all one, I'll just do my service. And there was one devotee, I think it's mentioned in the Nectar Devotion, who was absorbed in collecting the bathing water for Lord Jagannath. They would go daily and they would bring a container of water for Lord Jagannath and they would present it to the pujaris. That was their service. But that's as far as they went. They didn't connect. Like, it's nice to do service, but it's also nice to come closer, to get more connected, to do an arti, to be focusing, to be there serving, caring for the Lord on the altar. So we need to, and if we can't do that, then we should hear from those people who have that experience. We should connect with them. Servant of the servant of the servant. Does anybody have any questions or any comments at this stage? We're talking about Vaishnavi. Do we use a microphone? Just here. Here she comes. Other side. Other side.
That devotees will never cheat us, and you talked about nectar of devotion, where it explains how to deal with devotees. But in practical life, even like at school, even within devotee communities, sometimes the trust is lost. So devotees, we understand that we respect all devotees, but then it's not always that we. Could you talk a bit more about that? That we don't always reveal our mind to someone.
So what did you say was lost?
You mentioned that devotees will never cheat us, but then everyone comes with their own different conditioning.
Oh, yeah.
And we should respect all devotees, but it's not that we reveal our heart and mind to every single devotee. Could you speak a bit more about that?
Yeah. Every single devotee. There's stages. One who is uttering Hare Krishna, you should offer them respect. I was walking through Knox Park and a group of kids came towards me and I had my japa beads, so one of them said, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And then he cursed me, he swore at me, he blasphemed me. So I thought, well, at least he's saying Hare Krishna, he's the best. The others, they were sort of neutral. For one who's taken initiation, it's just like an expression. Somebody curses you. They're just trying to glorify Krishna, but they don't have the language. Every aspect of language is glorification of God. So then somebody who's initiated, then you should make friends with them, you should serve them. And somebody who's an advanced devotee, then you should make them the goal of your life. So there's different levels of the way we associate with devotees. But the bottom line is, somebody who's a devotee is different to a materialist. And if we can't see their devotional nature, we should scratch under the surface. Oh, Prabhu, what brought you here? Well, I'm a farmer, and I wanted to learn English. And 2 years ago on the bus, I found a Krishna book. So I've read the Krishna book 17 times in that 2 years, and I want to get more books to read. Oh, you're a devotee. If we scratch under the surface and once bitten, twice shy, if they respond in a certain way, then we can say, oh, I'll be a little bit more wary. So there's different ways of ascertaining how we should associate, the science of association. It's not all one. General respect, and that's a standard in Australia. Everybody's our mate. We're all mates with everybody. And then after a while we realise actually they're maybe a bit exalted. Maybe I've been offending them. Maybe I should back off and try and be a little bit more respectful. In the East, then the general mood is respect. Give them the chance, give them the benefit of the doubt. And then after somewhat time, then you can ascertain, well, they can't walk their talk. Well, if I see them again, I'll offer them respects, but I won't fall at their feet and worship. Different techniques. Ram, do you have a question?
We can't artificially create all these advanced emotions, but he was saying we can rely on the emotion, or we can call on the emotion of gratitude. And I was thinking it's a really interesting, helpful sort of point, isn't it? I can remind myself when I don't feel like chanting or whatever, I can think how grateful I feel to have this mantra. Without that mantra, where would I be?
Yeah, there's different triggers that we can rely upon, we can call upon when we're suffering. Oh, why am I suffering? Because I've forgotten Krishna. I should chant Hare Krishna at least to help me remember Krishna. So there's little things, little helps. And gratitude, I'm writing another one, is sincerity. We should be scathingly honest about our position. Who am I to deride such and such a circumstance? And one who is more advanced, then they don't mind, as Lord Chaitanya prays, you can handle me roughly by your embrace, or make me broken-hearted by not being present before me. Whatever comes, I deserve more and worse, and well, thank you. At least you're not ignoring me. Please don't ignore me, Krishna. Don't leave me in a void. So little things just to jog us out, and asking questions, contemplating, imagining questions. We need to deal not with the total sum and substance of all questions, what's the nature of the universe, but what's stopping me from moving forward. Let me go and inquire from somebody. Please, can you explain how I can get over this obstacle? Oh, that's easy. Just go around the side. Don't butt your head against the wall. So that's the most important question to ask. And Sanatana Goswami, he epitomized, Kayami. Who am I? Why am I suffering? Where am I going? Basic questions. That's Shmi, yeah.
You were mentioning the nectar of devotion, and in those chapters, in chapter 17 and 18, Srila Prabhupada also refers to, we can say, fake or unauthentic devotion.
Pratibimba.
Pratibimba and Chaya.
Yeah.
In others also, because you can fake it. Bhaktivinoda Thakur comments that, the different Apa Sampradayas, basically, they rely on that. I'm going to fake it till I make it, kind of thing. Doesn't work like that. But Srila Prabhupada, under the title of Nectar of Devotion, included the words, the complete science of Bhakti Yoga. So if we want to feel those symptoms, ecstatic symptoms, of course, comes from Krishna, the mercy, and also the Vaishnavas, the special mercy. Different kinds are there. But we have to apply ourselves to the sadhana. If we don't apply ourselves, then why are we crying? Because, if we are sincere, I want to stop drinking and smoking or suffering from this or that disease, and I don't follow the treatment, I don't follow the direction of the physician. So we keep complaining and, I'm so fallen, your mercy, this, that. But we don't take it up. Prabhupada is saying, don't do this. I was hearing a transcription, reading a transcription of a class. Srila Prabhupada says, you have to follow 5 principles. The 4 regulative principle and chanting Hare Krishna. If you do that, you will be cured. Because you don't have to speculate. The class is giving. So the science is that if we do something, there's a result. So all these symptoms are a result of following the sadhana.
Sometimes we were out distributing Krishna's mercy, and things weren't going right. So we were told principles of what we should check. Am I in the right place? Did I chant good rounds this morning? Did I offend somebody? Have I been associating nicely? Is my desire sincere? And if we can tick all of those, yes, I have been correct in all those things, then maybe there's something wrong with the area. But until we've gone through that checklist, then we should assume I'm at fault. I'm not applying myself properly. And if we're not experiencing bliss at every moment, nectar at every moment, then it means that we're not focused, we're not properly desiring. So we should take a step back, and if we can't cry, lament our pitiable situation, we should cry that we can't cry. And that's the situation. We're just small, insignificant parts, little particles of dust at the lotus feet of Krishna. So we have to try and get back into that situation. And there's so much help. The devotees means those who are absorbed in hearing and chanting about Krishna. And there's Prabhupada, he spent so much time putting together his books because that's his main contribution. And if we ignore his books, even if we just pick up one of Prabhupada's books for half a minute a day and just open it up. That was, I remember one of my first connections with Krishna consciousness. We were at some house and there was a bookcase there, and I, natural tendency, try and check out the place, and I looked at the bookcase and there was this pink book. And that was attractive, so I picked up the book and I opened up one page and it looked as though it was in highlighter. It said, Bhakti Yoga, devotional service. I put the book down, and that was it, Nectar Devotion. So the books are so potent. Srila Prabhupada has put everything in his books, so we have to take shelter of the book. Tomorrow is Gita Jayanti. Bhagavad Gita is going to be recited in its entirety. We'll sit together for 3 hours focusing on the Bhagavad Gita. Actually, my most satisfying time in Krishna consciousness was myself, Prana Prabhu, and another devotee. We were in the Brahmachari ashram in Melbourne, and we had a Bhagavad Gita. We placed the scripture between us. We read a verse each, and we expressed our realization. To be in the association of devotees with the scriptures in the center is so satisfying. So we've got the opportunity tomorrow, and as we go through the Gita, we can note, that's a significant verse. I didn't know that verse was connected with this verse. I didn't know that whole chapter was about this. We can there's so much food for nourishment there in Srila Prabhupada's books. So there are systematic ways to get exposed to them, get trained, how to deal with them, and the association of devotees who are faithfully serving Srila Prabhupada's words, then that's how we can get help and get ultimately back to our ultimate goal, back to the spiritual world. And Prabhupada said in the spiritual world there will be ISKCON, and we'll all be there. There'll be another ISKCON in the spiritual world. So we've got to make friends with those who are with now, get to know those who we are with now, because it's not by accident. We'll be together again. I was going to tell some stories about Jagannath Puri and places like that. I've just been there. But the main feeling, the main impression I got was the mood of unalloyed service. that the whole crew of 350 devotees, for instance, we got on a train to travel down to Jagannath Puri. We stopped at Ramuna, about 2 hours down the road. And the train stopped at that station for 2 minutes. 350 devotees with all their luggage on. So the managers, they had a powwow, and they described, this is the way we're going to do it. Certain people in charge of each carriage. You're going to get all the baggage together. Everybody else is going to get their bodies off, and all the bags are just going to be heaved out the door. So they managed to achieve that. And everybody had excess luggage. It was packed. So they achieved it on the way out. One carriage was 68 seconds. And on the way back, we had to get back on that train the next day. So Haridas, Parama's son, he was the one putting the bags on. And he described it. He got a little bit of a sweat up, shifting 70 or 80 bags. But the mood of surrender, the mood of sacrifice, the mood of that we'll take care of you. I interfered at one stage. I put a bag in the wrong place, and the manager just rode straight over the top of me. No, this is what we're going to do, and in a nice way. And that relationship, that experience of dealing with those people who were actually sacrificing their lives became deeper and deeper and deeper. At the end, the two main managers, they were glorified because they were experiencing all these emotions. Frustration, anger, despair. How are we going to get 350 devotees into hotel rooms, and rooms with the right person they want to be with, and the rooms according to how much they've requested, and satisfaction. And so they were freaking out. So they were given the glorification that you are getting the benefit of all of these devotees' parikram. It said that the leader, they take 1/6 of the karma of the people who are following them. 1/6 of the good karma. If they're leaving good, it's great. I remember seeing Bob Hawke before he got elected. Handsome young man, not grey hair. After a short time, his hair was grey like anything because he was dealing with this population. So the devotees, they were glorified. You're getting the benefit of serving all these other devotees, all the experience they had on the parikram. You're getting that 1/6 of that plus more, plus your own surrender. So the mood of service, it's better to give than to take. A mood of give and take, you get more benefit from giving than from taking. So share what you've got. Oh, that's another story. Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna.